Kia ora, my name is Tanya. I live in Hamilton in the North Island in New Zealand, and I'm a health professional, and I work with a lot of people at this time in the world. I actually work with a lot of people in distress. So that's my main part of my core work that I do, my core mahi, yeah. I've completed a program called the One-on-One Internal Conflict Resolution Program. You know, I've invested a lot of areas to get to know myself in the past, and this is another chapter I thought I'd invest in this program, because I just knew there was still areas or more healing within inside myself I couldn't quite put my finger on, in particular in relation to the subconscious mind. You know, I've got a little bit of information of what I know around the mind, which can be very undisciplined, and wanting to explore that more in relation to old patterns and programs, and in relation to my own healing journey. I felt like, you know, I was feeling like I thought I was in charge of what I did every day. I thought I was leading a life of day in, day out. It just seemed to be the same, and something inside of me just knew something had to shift, because I'd come to a point where I realised the same programs or patterns that were showing up in my life were still ruling my behaviour. Now, I didn't know, I wouldn't be using those words, but I began to articulate that in a way, and the feelings I was experiencing, but I knew I needed to do some more work on myself in relation to clear that out, because it wasn't a balanced feeling. I didn't feel totally 100%. I needed to clear some things out in order to release, and I don't know if I would have used those words back then, but I knew I had to, in relation to starting the program and other work that I've done on myself. Something had to clear, and I wanted to explore that more. And so I was out of balance, and I was what we'd call out of homeostasis, so not in this balanced state, and I was getting triggered as well, and I couldn't quite grasp how to manage that within myself. Well, after going through the work, through the program, through exercises and all the resources that were just a whole kitty full of resources available to me in the program, I can actually say doing the work or the mahi on myself has been very rewarding, and the anticipation of trying to make sure my world was certain outside of myself, because I knew that, you know, I always wanted to be sure. I always wanted to have the unknown to be known. And so understanding how I would give my energy away, how I came to know what patterns and programs were actually ruling that part of my world, and why I felt so tired, lethargic, and didn't really feel in charge of my life. And so as I begin to do the work, understand in particular my nervous system, and how the fight and flight, the stress response easily kicks in relation to old patterns and programs, and how that was really just ruling my behaviour, unbeknown to me, of course, patterns and programs, to keep myself basically safe and protected from old situations that I'd experienced in the past. But it was actually showing up a lot and triggering me, unbeknown to me, in the present moment. But I actually wasn't living my life in the present moment.
Yeah.
Awareness and insight of how the volume of the old patterns would rise inside of me. Now, when I say rise, I could feel the somatic, I could feel the feelings, the emotions before my logical mind would kick in. I was actually feeling And I would always, not always, but I'm so much more aware of how I used to suppress that in a way to carry on with life, because I didn't know how to navigate. I didn't know how to eliminate that or walk.
Yeah.
And what I've been doing is, into a lot of the part of what I became very clear on, is that I would suppress it and then it will rise again. And I still didn't know how to work through and navigate that and eliminate it out of my whole nervous system. But now I'm so much more aware, the triggers and the awareness, the insight of how that wants to rule my behavior, that wants to keep showing up, that wants to keep triggering and keep showing up in a way, but it had a role for a purpose and a function to keep me safe and protected. So I now know, with the skills and tools and resources that I have, to eliminate that, to work through it, to flick it out of my whole subconscious way, but still remain very present, but very in charge of how I want to live my life, and not my life, not the other way around, my subconscious patterns and programs ruling my life in the present moment. I mean, it's been a major investment in a chapter in my life that I can actually say there's been I've made a major shifts. You know, I didn't know what to expect, but I knew I had to do something in order to move my way forward, to find my way. And sometimes you try something and it's not the way. So this was just another exploration to invest in myself, and found that I landed with you know, connecting with yourself, Faye, the resources that you have available, but also all the additional bonuses that you know, you just so selfishly, you know, you just keep adding on in, but they've been very useful. But to take advantage of putting that all together in a package that has really helped me along with other things that I've done, but it's another piece of the puzzle about myself, to know myself emotionally, you know, with my hininaro, the physical side with my tinana, about myself and my family, and socially regarding my whānau, and spiritually, you know, what I value in my wairoa. So that is all mana enhancing, and it's reclaiming me, reconnecting with me, super growth within myself, understanding myself, and that journey within is something that has been such a major investment. So yeah, I would invest, or to say to people, if they were thinking about it, to actually you know, like anything else, to give it a go, and invest in yourself, because you know, that investing in yourself is going to bring back returns. If you give it what you're wanting and searching and exploring, you're bound to get something back, because it's driven you, it's brought you to a place that is wanting to connect. And that's what I found. So somehow I was connected with you, Faye, and so, you know, our worlds came together, and, you know, I don't believe that's a coincidence. So I just allowed myself to be in that space, and kept it open, and that investment has paid off.